Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Knothole Gang from the top of the Mickey and Friends parking structure, coming to you from the backside of Battle Escape as usual. And we're going to, I don't know, for some reason I felt like taking a peek inside there to see if we can find anything inside the Battle Escape building besides those, that steel framework that we saw there before. But it's just a mess. They use this area, obviously, it looks like, as some sort of staging area for other, other construction work that they're doing. There's the shrubbery that they're working on. You can definitely see it's gonna be elevated, which is nice. Shrubbery should be elevated. So as we pan through our usual views, I guess what I'll say is that we're not gonna do a lot of back and forth on these views because we're gonna be spending more time than usual at a new view that we found. Wait, look at that first. Look at that. They've added more color to this rock spire. That is advanced right there. Everything has been granite looking up until now. But look at that. That's the first real color we've seen on these rock spires. That looks great. There's a new view that we found after watching Jens at 55's video from Chippendale Treehouse in Toontown, and it's great. It's fantastic. So we're going to be spending a lot of time looking at that. But of course, we're going to give you our usual views here as well. I'm going to jammer on as usual as well. Look, I mean, we should expect to see that kind of coloration happening soon, I think, on those rock spires as well. The three main Millennium Falcon peaks or spires. And I think that short steel, I guess the beginning of a framework there, right in the middle of the frame, compared to the longer one there, I believe we can see that from the Toontown, from Chippendale, which hopefully we'll be able to identify that. I'm not that it means much, but it's still fun to see a second view. I think actually that may be better seen from Donald Duck's boat than Chippendale's. And I'm just basically pausing here to look at some of the more obvious construction pieces. And then we'll shift over to Rivers of America on the Mark Twain.
As we head into the remote area of the Rivers of America, you're in for a real...
It's about the same as it's been the last few weeks, really. But you can see that color kind of stand out now again against the more granite-looking facades there.
The stunning rock formations, the cascading waterfalls, the moose, deer, and elk along the banks. It's all so magnificent and so peaceful.
Now, and if I'm not mistaken, this is my assumption is that what we're looking at through those trees right there, just over the rock line for the Disneyland Railroad, it's part of the view that we'll be getting from Chippendales. It's really kind of fun. I've spent a lot of time trying to digest what we see from there because we've got 2+ years of watching this stuff grow, and then all of a sudden up pops this new view, and I'm trying to play catch up, with my eyeballs on where things are at. We're gonna pause here for a little shave and a haircut. What a great view that was of the train. At Disneyland, you guys. Watching the train go by over this bridge on the Mark Twain. Oh, and there's Tiana. We're so at Disneyland, you guys. It's ridiculous. Oh my God, I love this place so much. Everything is just happening all at once. There's so much happening. I'm trying to get some video of Galaxy's Edge construction and the Disneyland Railroad and Tiana. They just pop up. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Look at that. I'm zooming in here because it looks like there's a hole in that rock formation, or that cliff face, or I'm not sure what that is exactly. Wow, that looks great. But there's a gap right in the middle there. I may have to try to find that in the, if there is such a thing in the model. And I thought I had located that building that we've been watching from the trees, the pyramid thing. But I'm not sure. We'll find out again when we get to the Chippendales Treehouse. We'll take a look at that. And the Mark Twain at this point had stopped. I guess they were waiting for the Columbia to take off from dock, so I got a minute to take a focused look at stuff, including through those trees again, to see if I can't see anything new on that building. I mean, maybe there is a pyramid structure being built, and it's the thing that is causing me the most consternation when I'm comparing it to the model. Maybe that's what that is. Because it simply does not exist on the model. There is no pyramid on the model.
Off the starboard side is Pirate's Lair at Tom Sawyer Island. Young Tom always said he wanted to be a pirate. If you're a pirate, you need to get up early in the morning and go to school.
Okay, we'll switch over to Chippendales, and we'll start with just sort of this long shot. We're doing this so we can get kind of just to sort of get our bearings. There's a couple things in Jensen's video that he pointed out that we can use as benchmarks to figure out where we are in relation to the model. First, we'll start with this tower that's being built on the left. He identifies that structure as this guy right there. Which Jensen's the best of us, so this guy's brilliant. He's a genius. He knows, I would say, better than anybody about what is what. So I can't disagree with that. So if we're going with that, that's our start. That's the far left point, and you can see that is the far left point on the model as well. And then here's another look from a different angle at the tower there on the far right. Next, right in the middle are two rock spires that are under construction, and I have to assume that is these two as they relate to the other things that we're going to talk about. You know, there you've got the structure that will be identified first on the right, and then in between that and the stuff that we're going to see in a minute are those two rock spires. And then on the far right, you can see that dome being built, and we'll zoom in on that here in a minute, but that dome represents sort of the third part of this comparison. And as best as I can tell, it is this structure right here. And I say that, if we zoom in a little bit, we can see, well, first here's sort of a closer look. Those are the spires in the middle, and there's another dome structure there, which it's not really a key player in to figure things out. But if we pan to the right and zoom in on the super shiny guy, check this out. So rather than focus on the bright shiny building, which seems easy, but there's a lot of domes, Jensen has identified this structure here, this little guy right to the left of the big shiny one, as this structure here. And I think he's right. I think they are the same. I think that is it. If you compare the color and the design of the dome structure, that they do seem to be identical, then we have to assume that the bright shiny guy, which is much bigger, is the guy right behind it. Because if you look at it perspective-wise, it looks like it's in front of and to the left, immediately to the front and left of the big shiny one, which makes it, I have to assume, this guy right there. Only problem is, if we pan to the right of the big shiny, and you get, there's that pyramid and another dome structure being built behind it. So where does that pyramid exist on this model? Let's look at another piece. We'll zoom in again, and if that is again that small brown dome, and we're going to concede that is the bright shiny one. Again, what is that pyramid structure behind it? It's very clearly behind it, right? And then another dome being built behind that, I think. Maybe that's not a dome behind it, but I mean, it sure looks like it could be. But another structure, nonetheless, being built behind that. What are we looking at? At one point, I thought maybe, well, that pyramid will eventually turn into a dome. That's just sort of the inner structure of the dome. But I've seen these other domes being built, and there's no pyramid inside the dome. So I think this thing is going to wind up being a pyramid. And if so, where in the heck is it in the art? If we're to, again, go along with everything, if we're using the benchmarks. And again, I think they do line up. But otherwise, it's super fun being able to see all that stuff that we could never see before because it was always behind the tree line when on the Mark Twain. I'd always wondered, what was going on there, and now we kind of know. And then we'll move over to Toontown to get a look that we haven't seen in a while because its progress has been kind of stalled on the Millennium Falcon's spires. It's funny, we can't see those at all from Chippendales, but they're right next to us. So much going on in there. And then we'll head back to the Mark Twain after we have that little Toontown interlude and say our parting farewells to Galaxy's Edge from the Rivers of America. Thanks for watching, you guys. Obviously, stay tuned for more because we're going to be going to that Toontown spot, I think, every week now. That really is a fantastic spot. Even though we can barely see it, we had to work really hard to get those shots. I think that they're some of the most fun shots we've seen in a while. So, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Fresh bite. We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out some of our other videos and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Baked Fresh Daily. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. Fresh Baked!